about the next generation of pharmaceuticals with my co-panelists who are leaders and visionaries in either biotech, pharmaceuticals, and science. And we hope that you enjoy the conversation today. So maybe I should start with a very short round of introduction for the panelists, and then the format will be that each of us will present. We hope that each of us gives at least 1-2 minutes for question and answers for the participants. So you can keep your questions at the end of for the end of basically each presentation, and we will be delighted to answer your questions. I should probably start with introducing myself. So my name is Ali Reza Hagigi. I'm a professor of medicine and genetics at Harvard Medical School in Boston, Massachusetts, in the United States. And I'm directing the Harvard International Center for Genomics and AI, the new name. We are focused on partnering with the governments, major academia, and industry to enhance genomic medicine and precision medicine around the world through collaboration and through partnership. We believe that this kind of services should be available to everyone, not only for the rich or for the lucky people who happen to be born in a country where these services are already available. To that end, we are already working with multiple governments. I will give you more information when I present myself. So now you can probably start with Dr. Abdullah Azizov, Director of the Agency for the Development of Pharmaceutical Industry. So if each of us gives probably like 20 to 30 seconds introduction, then you will have time to present. And when you present, you can talk about what you're doing.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Leriza, for your kind words. My name is Oybek El Muradov. I'm a deputy of Mr. Azizov, and now our director is in other meeting with our presidents. And with your permission, I will participate in today's panel session. If briefly about our agency. Pharmaceutical Industry Development Agency was created under the Ministry of Health of our country, and we are responsible for developing industry in pharmaceutical and some kinds of regulatory in so there is a GXP center under our agency who is responsible for issuing the GMP, GPP, and other GXP certificates for participations of our market. Thank you.
Thank you. The next co-panelist will be Dr. Sarfaraz Niazi, the Chief Executive Officer of RNA Therapeutics.
Good morning, everybody. I'm also professor at University of Illinois Medical Center, but my main change of career has been to create novel biologics. We set up the first company in the US, and now we have this company where we are creating from gene therapy to RNA products. We just raised about $500 million for this company. And now we feel that there is the future which must be understood by all developing countries because this is what you're going to need tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sarfaraz. Our next panelist is Anastasia Kroglova, the General Director of IQVIA Eurasia Cluster.
Yes, that's right. Good morning, dear ladies and gentlemen. Again, just my name is Anastasia. I'm Senior Director and General Manager of IQVIA in Eurasia Cluster. We do provide consulting, technology, information services to government and pharmaceutical companies, distributors, pharmacy chains. So I would say we do provide 360-degree solutions to the stakeholders across the value chain in the life cycle and in the life cycle of every company in the industry of healthcare and life science.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a pleasure meeting you.
Meeting you.
Mr. Murat Batal is the chairman of Batal Holding.
Merhabalar. Ben Türkçe konuşacağım fakat saygıdeğer bakanlık temsilcileri, kıymetli iş insanları, değerli katılımcılar, hanımefendiler ve beyefendiler. Dost ve kardeş ülke Özbekistan topraklarında sizlerle bir arada olmaktan, sizlerle aynı hedefler doğrultusunda yürümekten büyük bir memnuniyet ve gurur duyduğumu ifade etmek isterim. Hepinizi Battal Holding Anonim Şirketi adına saygı ve hürmetle selamlıyorum. Ben şahsen uzun yıllardır Özbekistan topraklarında yaşayan, Özbekistan ile yalnızca iş değil, gönül bağı da kurmuş biri olarak bugün burada farklı bir sektörde ilaç ve sağlık anlamında bir işbirliği vesilesiyle sizlerle karşı karşıyayız. Battal Holding, Türkiye'nin köklü ve saygın sanayi kuruluşlarından biridir. Holdingimiz 11 farklı sektörde faaliyet gösteren, merkezi Türkiye'de bulunan büyük bir üretim ailesidir. İlaç, plastik, farmaplastik, oluklu mukavva, ambalaj, kağıt, makina, tarım, yenilenebilir enerji ve hava yangın söndürme gibi alanlarda güçlü yatırımlara sahibiz. Türkiye'de 5 farklı şehirde ve yurt dışında Cezayir'de yer alan tesislerimizle 2400 kişilik nitelikli personelimizle üretim yapıyor. Her geçen gün büyüyen kurumsal yapımızla ilerliyoruz. Grubumuz bünyesindeki Türk İlaç ve Serum Sanayi Anonim Şirketi, Türkiye'nin yüksek üretim kapasiteli 4 parenteral solüsyon serum üretim tesisidir. Şirketimiz yıllık 120 milyon adet serum, 160 milyon adet ampul, 15 milyon adet diyaliz solüsyon üretimi kapasitesiyle Türkiye Cumhuriyeti'nin en büyük sağlık tedarikçilerindendir. Bugün
I think that we should leave it when you present, just very short presentations. I apologize to interrupt you. Just to make sure that we stay online, I think that we should stop. And then when you present, you can talk about your company. The next panelist is Mr. Cheese Tweak, the Chief Executive Officer of Unimed Pharmaceuticals.
안녕하십니까. 존경하는 여러분, 파트너 및 투자자 여러분, 저는 유니메드 제약의 우즈베키스탄 CIS 지역의 제약 사업을 담당하는 우즈벡 유니메드 대표 최수익입니다. 먼저 이 자리를 참석할 수 있게 기회를 주신 우즈베키스탄 정부와 우즈베키스탄 대통령님께 감사드립니다. 또한 우즈베키스탄 제약단지에 제약공장을 건설하여 우즈벡 제약산업에 이바지할 수 있는 선택을 해준 제약청장 미스터 압둘라 아지조프에게 다시 한번 감사드리겠습니다. 대한민국의 유니메드 제약은 1990년도에 김건남 회장님이 제약사를 설립해서 현재 대한민국 제약 발전의 중심으로 1등 제약사로 발전하여 끊임없는 연구개발과 대한민국 국민이 안전하게 건강하게 살 수 있도록 최고의 의약품을 만들기 위하여 700명의 전사원이 노력하고 있습니다. 이따가 다시 설명하도록 하겠습니다.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We will have, I think that my co-panelists have presentations, almost all of us. So we will start with presentations. I will be thankful if we start my presentation on the screen. Is that good? Perfect. Okay. So let's start with one question for all of you. Do you know that what percentage of the world population do not have access to any essential healthcare?
25.
25%. Any other number? Okay. It's more than 50% of the world population does not have access to any essential healthcare. I'm not talking about advanced healthcare. I'm talking about very essential. So that's a good start point. The next generation of pharmaceuticals and the biotech industry should address that. So there are other shocking points about our healthcare and the biotech as well. So in the United States, for the 10 most profitable drugs, 60 to 80% of the population do not respond properly to these drugs, which means that I, as a physician, prescribe the drugs. The patients, with the hope that it will work, take it, and it doesn't work for them. And these are the 10 most profitable drugs in the US market. Imprecise medicine in the US costs around $900 billion. That's almost equivalent to the GDP of multiple countries in Central Asia. Multiple countries together. That costs 20 to 30% waste in the healthcare budget in the United States. So, however, modern medicine, in my opinion, is probably the most amazing achievement of human beings. This medicine and this healthcare is not precise and it's not optimal. As you heard, it's not accessible by everyone. You heard more than 50% of healthcare is not available to anyone. 50% of the population of the world do not have access to essential healthcare. The second is that it's imprecise. And the third is it's very expensive. According to World Bank, in the past few years, almost 2 billion people have gone onto the edge of becoming bankrupt only because of the costs of healthcare around the world. Okay. So, but we now have new technologies that can come and address many things. I actually looked at the presentations of my co-panelists to make sure that I'm not replicating what they are saying. So what I'm saying, I'm trying to set the stage for my amazing co-panelists to talk about their expertise. The AI and other advanced technologies are changing the world, including the biotech. AI is not only helping us to advance knowledge, technology, science, and other things, but it's also changing the business model in healthcare. The business model in healthcare, like any field, has been a scarcity-based model, which means that we don't have enough of something, so we pay to get it. We pay to get prioritized to receive it. I, as a physician, charge the payers or the patients because we don't have enough doctors. The less doctors that we have, the more expensive they become. That is changing. AI is changing the business model in healthcare from a scarcity-based to abundance-based. In a very near future, the AI agents will help doctors to be much more efficient, and the need to doctors will go down. In many cases, they will replace physicians. Not only physicians, even with procedures. So that's one thing that is changing. One size fits all medicine is old now. So we don't, when I was in medical school, we were learning about like the first line treatment, first line intervention for this disease, for that disease. If you have this disease, the first line medication is this. If it doesn't work, we go to the next one. That's old. We don't treat diseases now. We should treat patients, and every patient is different. So they should receive different types of intervention. And the second is patient care. Medicine and healthcare has been focused on patient care. That is changing as well. So now we are providing healthy longevity care. You don't need to be a patient to go to a doctor. You go to a doctor to receive health plan, to live healthier and longer, and not to be treated for a disease. So that's another big change. My field is genomics. Genomics can come and help AI as well in this healthcare. How? First, to make it more precise. Some of you may have heard about the pharmacogenomics. Genomics can help to stratify individuals based on their response to the medications. As a physician, I would know that if I give this drug to this patient, it will work. To the next one, it will not work. To the third one, not only it doesn't work, it can be toxic for that patient. That significantly helps the healthcare and the longevity. It also can help to predict health and disease. For the first time in history of mankind, we can now predict diseases, not early diagnose them. We can predict diseases long time, sometimes decades, before development of any pathology in the body. A very good example is breast cancer. Now we are able to identify people who are at risk of developing cancer in their 40s probably, when they are in early 20s. So decades before any pathology in the body. That is also helping. This is all helping the pharmaceutical and the biotech system as well, because it helps us to plan for the health of people before any pathology is happening in the body. So our data shows that if you do genomic screening, almost 6% of the participants from general population, they have an actionable finding in a disease that is either resulting in death or severe morbidity, like cancer, like breast cancer, or cardiac death or other things. Interestingly, 99% of the population, they have a finding in pharmacogenomics. Hopefully, many of us will not end up being in a hospital to receive a specific medications, or we will not need those medications. But if we do, this is helpful, because then it can be, for some of us, those drugs can be toxic when we are in critical situations, in critical conditions. But it can help. You will hear from my colleague, at least I know that Dr. Niazi will talk about RNA therapeutics. You will hear that now genomics can provide a specific treatments for diseases that we never had any treatment for them. The only thing that we could do was genetic counseling to make sure that a baby with a genetic disease is not born. Or if someone is with that disease, we could basically manage them, not treat the disease. For the first time, genomics can help to cure the disease from the source. And that's from DNA-based therapeutics to RNA-based therapeutics. RNA-based therapeutics are very, very interesting in my opinion, because they are safer, they can be easier, they are easier to personalize, they are cheaper, and many other things that you will hear about this. So genomics and AI can changing many things. Good examples are two drugs that are FDA approved for thalassemia and for sickle cell. For some of you who may not know, thalassemia and sickle cell are, well, in one word, you don't want to get them. You don't want to develop these diseases. First of all, they are resulting in death, not necessarily because of the disease, because of the interventions that we have on these patients as physicians and as doctors. The side effects, in many cases, can result in death for the patients. They are very costly as well. So now we do have two drugs. One of them is basically based on gene editing. The other one is based on gene addition. You can see that one of them is $2.2 million. The other one is $3.1 million. They are very expensive. One dose can cure the patient forever, but they are expensive. These numbers are still cost effective because a patient with transfusion dependent thalassemia can cost between 5.4 to 7.1 million dollars for the healthcare system. So however they are expensive, but they are still cost effective. And remember, you cure the patients. You don't repeat transfusion on them. That can result in a lot of other complications. But now we are living in probably the most exciting time of human being from the earth. What we are experiencing here is probably equal to discovery of fire. Data is changing the world. For a long time, resources like oil or other or minerals or other natural resources have been the most valuable resources for the countries. That is significantly changing. You see that the countries are investing in generating data because data is the main currency in the future. Three things: data at large scale, a technology to analyze and interpret data. Now we have AI. And the third thing is energy to power this analysis. These three elements will shape the new power dynamism of the future instead of natural resources. And when we talk about data, the data about the life and human is the most important data. That will help pharmaceuticals and biotech. Now we have AI. I'm not going into the details of this, but AI is changing everything that we are doing by increasing the efficiency, by bringing the cost down, and by making things possible that have never been in the past. So this is my last slide, and I just want to tell you about what we are doing. At Harvard, as I told you, we are trying to partner with the governments. We are starting large-scale projects. These are national projects. The scale is from a few $100 million to multiple $billion for the governments to help them first generate data about human, about life, and then help them to interpret the data for clinical purposes and for scientific purposes, including drug discovery. We are also helping the governments to build capacity. As we talk, we are running the largest nationwide genomic medicine training program in the UAE. We are training 500 physicians for the government. We are doing it for other countries as well in different parts of the world. We are developing in close partnership with giant tech companies like Microsoft, NVIDIA, and others. We are building technology that can help governments to use data to improve health. And last, we believe that everything should be commercialized to be sustainable. So commercialization is the key. Responsible commercialization is the solution for a sustainable model for healthcare and for everything else. So I stop here. And by the way, this is my LinkedIn if you are interested to be in touch, or if you are interested to work with us. We are definitely are interested to do that. We have a commercial initiative as well that will partner with the governments to establish AI enhanced ecosystem for startups, specifically in life science and in biotech. And thank you very much. I think that we can get one question before we go to the other panelists. Good. So we save time. So the next speaker is you. I think that the organizers should change the presentation to the next presentation, please. The presentation should be probably named under Dr. Azizov.
distinguished guests, dear panelists, it's our honor to see all of you in Uzbekistan, in our beautiful country, and my grateful to organizers of Minister of Investment for organizing such a useful panel session on topic of pharmaceutical. And I believe that today's session will be not only the interesting but useful for all of us. And now let me to inform you about the investment potential in pharmaceutical sector of Uzbekistan. Next slide, please. Next slide. Oh. Thank you. Okay, so about Uzbekistan, as you know, Uzbekistan located in the middle of Central Asia country with a population of 38 million people, and its unique situation is that it's a fastest growing population in not only in our region but also in one of the most growing in the world, about 1 million people annually. And economic growth is about 6% annually. And if we will consider the market situation in pharmaceutical, we can say that pharmaceutical market size of Uzbekistan is about 2.8 billion US dollars. In region market size is about 10 billion US dollars. And foreign trade of our country's pharmaceutical market is we are still importing a huge part of our of our products. It's now is more than 80% of all our products. It's for the amount of 2.4 billion US dollars, and export size is about we reached to 200 million US dollars, and it's a interesting case here is the export growth of annually is about 50%, and here, beyond of pharmaceuticals, we are expanding into cosmetics and herbal medicine also, which nearly of 2 billion US dollars market. And one of the Uzbekistan's most effective tools in promoting pharmaceutical industrialization in the creation of is dedicated to free economic zones, specialized areas designed to offer maximum convenience and minimum barriers to investors. Today we have 5 active pharmaceutical free economic zones, which hosting more than 45 projects with a total investment exceeding of half billion US dollars. These zones are not just tax havens, they are innovation ready ecosystem designed to accelerate production, export, and R&D. Investors with such zones benefit from customs and tax exceptions, simplified regulatory clearance, and direct access to government support instruments. And we can emphasize that about this benefits. First of all, the tax holidays based on investment size, starting with $300,000 for the period of 3 years. And if you invest 10 or more million US dollars, the exception period would be 10 years. Besides of this, we have a very competitively corporate income tax. About it's 12%, and property and land tax and water infrastructure leaves. And if you realize your project in our three economic zones, you can enjoy as exceptions all of these types of customs payments and taxes. And now I'd like to pay your attention about our Tashkent Pharma Park. It's one of the unique projects, not only in our region, but one of the unique project in over the world. And here with which initiated by our His Excellency our President, and now we have already launched our projects. This cluster is collected in one place. All of these government authorities who is responsible for regulatory issues, and here located the offices of these agencies. Besides of this, there is a university, pharmaceutical technical university, and now we are implementing new projects with the Korean partners, with the ADCF funds, which focused on developing of R&D centers, laboratories, and other scientists of this sector. Besides of this, there are 130 hectares of industrial zones where we are implementing now is 26 investment projects for the amount of almost 1 billion US dollars. Here is two of our investors who are implementing their projects on this territory. Here you can see these parts of our clusters, genomic center, and we will create the R&D center, clinical, clinical centers, and of course the vivarium, and most of them under the construction works with our partners. Here you can see these projects which are implementing on Tashkent pharmaceutical clusters. And here I'd like to say that more than 60% of these projects are implementing by participating of big international pharmaceutical investors. This is all what I'd like to emphasize your attention. And in conclusion, I'd like to say that now is a very unique period for Uzbekistan to develop of our pharmaceutical sector. By government side, it's provided very very good potential and benefits for implementing such investment projects. And welcome to our sector, and welcome to for investing in this sector. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was very informative. I agree 100% with you that Uzbekistan is a very interesting market for investment, specifically for pharma. This country has the second largest GDP in Central Asia, but has 50% of the population of Central Asia. That is very interesting. So the market for pharma, which is directly affecting the population, is should be very, very, very interesting.
Thank you.
Any question from the audience? Okay, I ask questions. So I want to know that if you want to tell us that, well, okay, we have investors here, we have people who are founders, executives, which areas or which drug areas are the most needed drug areas here in this country?
Okay. For now, is of course it's very maybe painful sectors of it, drug sectors. Of course, it is oncology. For that, by the Ministry of Health, recently adopted the special program for long-term procurement by government say. It's which include this. It was adopted as a list of medicines, which include about the 40 types of medicine, which is highly requested by government side, by government procurement. It's for long-term period, and if you as investor like to organize the production facilities in Uzbekistan, government can provide a guarantee for long-term period for this up to 10 years.
Okay. So, and the other question, the last question is that what percentage of the drugs that you're using? I saw the cosmetics, but about the drugs, what percentage, or is there any percentage that is being manufactured inside the country for like generic drugs or other things?
Now, by quantity is now is about 40%, but by price is about just 20%.
40%
yes.
are being produced within
yes
the country.
locally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And
As
those are mainly
quantity.
generic drugs.
Yes, including generic.
Including generic.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. That was very informative.
Thank you.
Dr. Niazi, you are the next. So I would be thankful if the organizers start a presentation for Dr. Niazi.
So while they put it on, okay, let me just tell you something about Uzbekistan first.
Absolutely. I love Uzbekistan.
Do you know Uzbekistan has the highest IQ of all Muslim countries?
Now we know.
And it is much closer. Let me give you the numbers, okay? US has a 97 and Uzbekistan has a 90. India has 74. And here in this IQ, if 1 point makes a difference. Number one country in the world is 106.1, Japan. Anyway, the reason I'm telling you is that there is a lot of very good manpower here. And my proposition has always been make it local, sell it global. Okay. Switzerland has a population of 6 million. Every medicine which is $1 billion comes from Switzerland. I know they make watches, okay, but that's not the best thing to do. I think there is a time to change the mindset. Okay. I would like Uzbekistan to be the role model. Okay. But all you have to do, you are making products for Uzbekistan. It's fine. Why not export it to a stringent regulatory country. Why is that important? That establishes your standards. And as far as investment is concerned, oh, sorry. As far as the investment is concerned, I think that will flow in once you can show the cash flow and going on. Okay. So I've been around a long time. I set up biosimilars and all. One thing all of my patents are given in public domain. There's no charge, and I am ready to provide as much technology as needed in Uzbekistan to start manufacturing first the basic products, then some of the earlier biologics like biosimilars and others. Next slide. Oh, we have it.
You have the
Sorry about it. Oh, okay. So
second one.
this one.
The big one.
Okay. All right. So I was asked by FDA to talk about future of pharmaceuticals. So I wrote a book, um, and here this is book more on philosophy than on science. Okay. Let me tell you this: 1,000 years ago, more than 1,000, Ibn Sina was sitting here. Okay. And everybody thought this is the best time of our lives. We have the best medicines, we have the best AI, we have the best technology. Nobody questions about it. Today, we are thinking exactly the same. Okay. When the doctor mentioned AI, I will talk about it too. But let me ask you this: 1,000 years from today, they will look back at us and say, how primitive these guys were. They didn't have a pill to fix the gene. So my point is that the perceptions are changing continuously. The future is non-linear. So if you understand a little bit of math, okay, you cannot predict it. In the entire last centuries, there were a lot of books published on future, future, future. They were all wrong. Nobody was able to predict the future. But one thing we do know, what the present is, and I would like to look into that. Look at how we have jumped into biotech, and now we are going into what very well said by this Harvard man I call you. Okay, is that okay?
That's okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. Harvard kid. Okay, I call you. As far as I'm concerned, okay. So this is the future, but the point is, I'm not here to tell you to get involved in gene therapies. That's not what I want you to do. I want you to first get into making the drugs. Why? If you are importing a product from another country without naming it, chances are you're getting the lowest quality product in Uzbekistan because you don't have the standards to judge it. So my suggestion is do it yourself so that you can control the quality of products. Uh, I'll give you one example. Okay, in 1970s, University of California, um, three, four professors they made the first recombinant product. They got patents also. Then one of them got out and set up a company called Genentech. Okay, and recombinant became the in thing. Okay, so the first drug made was insulin, and now there are hundreds of products made. Uh, Proteins are the ones that are most effective to make it here. But let me tell you what's happening. It is changing. I think the Harvard man just told you, okay, RNA is a chemical product. It's not a biological product. So you can tell exactly what the nature of this product is. Do you know you're sitting here, you are making 80,000 different proteins in your body continuously that help you survive. When you're not able to make them or you're not able to make them right, you have an issue. So we can replace them by adding RNA technology. The first big shift came in RNA with the COVID vaccine. That was the first product approved. And now there are hundreds of products in the development. So I set up a new company, and my goal was to do only novel products, okay, not the ordinary products, which we'll talk about. Um, in vivo gene editing. You know, when a gene goes bad, you can see how many things can go bad from cancer down. How can we edit it? But here's the issue. The issue is this. Let me give you on the left hand side is a report from New York Times last week. First cancer vaccine treatment using this vaccine was made by the CAR T therapy. But I have 17 patents on not specific to patients. We decided that if I have to do it for each patient, it's a $500,000 dose. You cannot afford it. So we took the common genes that go um, rogue in cancer patients and start attacking them. So I could have a product that will be good enough for anybody, a generic product for cancer vaccine. That's what we are working now. Okay. So the future, we just published this paper last week. Okay. We're talking about what is the RNA-based cancer vaccines. I'm confident that we will be able to treat cancer. 10 years from today, cancer will not be talked about. Now let me tell you the exciting part, okay, what we're doing, okay. So we got the first diabetes type 1 vaccine, RNA. We are making anti-GAD antibody. And you know how many people face type 1 diabetes, including the man you are hearing it, okay. I got a pump, okay, it takes care of me. And then there are so many things, okay, Alzheimer's disease. By the way, last week FDA approved the test for Alzheimer's. So it's coming in. So what I'm talking about, these are all my patents, okay? But what I'm talking about is that these will be the most affordable products. But I don't want Uzbekistan to get involved in it. No, I think you need to start with some more basic understanding of which medicines you should use. Again, I think the term AI has been misunderstood. Okay, I have published a paper where I have challenged the term itself. It's not artificial intelligence. The intelligence is real. It's an adaptive intelligence. You can adapt it and you follow through with it. So there are a lot of applications, and let me tell you which one I'm recommending today in this part of the world. Okay. So these are the two papers that came I did last week. Okay. On the right hand side, I have I'm now advising United Nations, and the idea is if Uzbekistan wants any country to export the products to Uzbekistan, it must be registered in SRA country. Then you don't have to worry about quality product. And I think that requirement is so important. And then no matter how smart you are, okay, you cannot have enough manpower in your health agency to evaluate the products. So I have a complete plan how to use AI to evaluate your products. Last week, and actually on June 2nd, FDA released the first AI. It's called ELSA, which is FDA is now using to evaluate and read all applications coming in. It was a big announcement. I would like you to be engaged in using AI to know if your dossiers are proper, you can do it or not. There's a lot of things happening, and I think it is the time now for Uzbekistan to create a consortium to create the basis of AI for future delivery. And then I just, as an old man with a lot of books written here and there, okay, I think if you do not think about future, you cannot have one. I'm very proud of Uzbekistan with high IQ, 38 million people. I think there's a lot more you can do than you have done. You just have to build a trust in yourself. Like Nike said, which they call here Nike, just do it. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Niazi. That was informative as well and forward-looking. Um, any question from the audience? No question from the audience. Okay, I asked a question. Will be a very brief question, hopefully, because we want to get to the other panelists as well. So if you want to name one area in health, one disease area that would be impacted most and first by RNA therapeutics, what that area would be?
So I give you some very valuable information. We've filed the first product, RNA product to deliver a protein, not vaccine, protein. We ran into a big problem. The problem is for each RNA molecule, you can make up to 1 million molecules. And that range is so highly variable that any drug, any protein that has to have a fixed dose like insulin cannot be made by RNA. We had we invested millions of dollars on, we were doing darbepoetin, okay, and FDA says you can do it if you can prove this, and I couldn't prove it. So each individual, every time you get an injection, you will have a different dose in there.
Okay.
So where's the area? I think vaccine is the one area where you will have tremendous opportunity, because here, you're creating an antibody, and the level of antibody is not necessarily related to its efficacy. As long as you have it, you got it. So this is a new information. I have not published it yet, but that's where we're going.
Good. And well, actually, we have seen the evidence because RNA technology helped us to get out of one of the deadliest pandemics, actually, the deadliest pandemic of our lifetime. So we go to the next panelist, Anastasia. Can I have the remote control?
Sure.
We are looking to your presentation.
Yeah, thank you very much. And wonderful, I do have it on the screen. But first of all, I would like to say that I knew that there are just almost 1 million newborns each year in Uzbekistan, but coupled with the highest IQ in this country, seems to me that this is like super country where we need to invest, definitely. We start with investments in healthcare, and I really have a privilege here to talk about the most important industry from my perspective, and this is life science. This is healthcare. Just because, in the nutshell, all of us sitting here are just patients, and we just go to doctors from time to time, just at least for checkup. I hope so much, just to check how you feel mentally, physically, and this is really critical just to understand what's your health conditions, and just really to have at least some perspective for the future, as it was mentioned, just to think about the future and be confident that your health is good. IQVIA globally just operates across many opportunities and topics, discussing different strategic projects with healthcare professionals, with governments, with pharmaceutical companies. We do provide best-in-class solutions in technology like CRM system, like health information technologies, also just giving the databases of physicians and pharmacists. And first of all, most important, we do provide the data. And as was previously mentioned, the data, this is the most important topic that we do discuss. While we do analyze this, we can just predict the future, both with the data and artificial intelligence that we do discuss. And me, as a representative of IQVIA here, I would like to talk about the clinical trials here. So today we are at KOKAND International Investment Fund. Here I like the word international and investments, because in any way, all of us, I strongly believe, should consider ourselves and overall just our colleagues and patients as investments in healthcare. And you should know that historically, pharmaceutical companies invested billions in research and development. To develop and launch a new product in the market, it takes decades, starting from the idea, then just from clinical trials, phase number 1, phase number 2, phase number 3, finally just the launch and commercialization. So definitely we see just after some COVID situation, when we had a lot of investments in 2021 due to COVID, then there was some decrease in investments due to the fact that actually government and overall pharmaceutical companies needed just to understand where they are after this really extreme situation with developing a lot of vaccines to treat patients with COVID. But now in 2024, we see that the situation is back. So it has stabilized. And right now, manufacturing companies really just more focused on product portfolio and just deciding where to invest in which industries, in which categories, I would say not industries, but in which categories in the pharmaceutical industry. And we'll talk about this. And we see more and more decisions to invest in new molecules and a new, I would say, partnership between companies, and also just considering M&A. And finally, if you can see on the right from the right side down graph, that actually the total level of expenditures for research and development is growing. It means that overall pharmaceutical companies decided to invest even more, because definitely there is a need. And it's a pity to hear that up to 50% of global population suffering from the lack of medicines, from the lack of access to those medicines. And I know from my background and from just working in different pharmaceutical companies, that this is the way how to develop the business. This, first of all, to launch the products and then to provide the access to this. And any research and development starts with the clinical trials, with the idea, and then with the clinical trials. And I would like just to show you a few insights about the clinical trials landscape. And you can see there was like peak in 2021, just because again the COVID situation, when many government just pushed the target and just pushed the objective for pharmaceutical companies to invest in vaccines to treat patients and just to invest in new products. And then there was some kind of decline, because actually after any peak there is a decline, just to understand the very situation, very money, because in any way during the COVID situation, governments and pharmaceutical companies had to invest. But right now it's more or less stabilized. And we see that the number of new molecules coming just for the clinical trials is just increasing. It's phase number 1, phase number 2, phase number 3, meaning that in the future there will be more and more innovative products, innovative drugs available for patients, meaning for us, and not only for checkup, just to check your the latest heart pressure or just whatever it might be, but really to treat you with quite severe diseases. If we move forward and just to see what type of therapeutical areas we see in the clinical trials, top 3, this is oncology, immunology, neurology and cardiology, are responsible for 71% of total clinical trials available in the market, meaning that this is exactly the burden and the need overall population has. Oncology is the largest one, and I've heard from dear speakers that cancer and other diseases, this is like the most severe burden across many countries, including Uzbekistan, and especially coverage of patients in terms of the reimbursement for the relevant medicines. But this is where we might expect new products, new therapies. And I know that after the COVID situation, it appeared that there are actually no products to treat some neurology and cardiology consequences after the COVID situation. And it's not only Alzheimer, as was mentioned, but there are some many other neurology problems where actually people and patients seek for new therapies and seek for new, I would say, products to treat those diseases. Finally, if we consider in which countries, in which geographies we see the largest number of clinical trials, we can see very interesting trend. And if you see it right now in 2024, two, I would say, geographies are the leading. This is USA, America. It was historically, and it has more or less a stable line. But what is most interesting, this is China, how drastically it's growing in terms of the number of clinical trials and where we might expect the launch of innovative products. It's a pity to see the dark blue line, Europe, where the number of clinical trials is declining, and it didn't start only with the conflict that happened 3 years ago. It happened even earlier, but means that actually since there is a decline of the clinical trials in Ukraine and Russia, there is more, I would say, potential for Uzbekistan, for Central Asia to replace this shortage. So I would say there are two key messages. First of all, America and China still the two geographies and two countries where we should expect the largest number of investments and new products because of the after the clinical trials there is a launch and there is quite quick market access to the products. And finally, there is an opportunity for Uzbekistan to replace the shortage of patients, the shortage of doctors that previously were available in Ukraine and Russia. And right now it's high time, especially with such growing population. Finally, what I would like to say, we talk a lot about genomic today, and this is a confirmation that the highest level of clinical trials are dedicated to genomic therapies and to cell therapies. This is the new era. And as was mentioned previously, it's not just one pill for everyone, and we don't know either it's toxic for the patient or not, but it's really targeted therapies. When patient comes to the doctor and doctor prescribes not just one pillar for everyone, but really considers what would be the most efficient for the patient. And this is overall the objective for all healthcare professionals and scientists, really to find therapies that are actually specifically for you, for your patients. And in this case, it's more just genomic one, it's more cell one, when it's taken from you and adjusted for you and really helps you just to treat the more severe diseases. If we speak about Uzbekistan and overall developing national potential through clinical research, I need to say that there are like four pillars to be taken into account by the government. Because in this investment fund forum, it's an opportunity not only to speak about the problems, but also to advise and give some insights how investments can really just improve overall the life of the country. First of all, if and when the clinical research industry is developed in the country, it definitely impacts the growth of economy. There is no direct, I would say, link to the GDP growth, but since if you invest in the clinical trials, investments are coming here. I just told you that to launch a new product, it costs more than $1 billion. And imagine, so if you have like 20, 30 products with clinical trials here locally in Uzbekistan, it's also just jobs for you physicians. It's just really a new level of education for your both patients, keeping leaders, and this is just the strategic positioning of Uzbekistan as the country that can provide the relevant level of clinical trials and just the outcomes that comes from those clinical trials. Patients, we speak about the early access. It's critical to understand that clinical trials help patients to get the treatment earlier than the product is launched, because during the clinical trials you get the success, and there is also some kind of the emotional impact that we really support just to improve the healthcare and to drive life science. Finally, if we speak about healthcare professionals, just to be a part of the global team, to be part of the team that reviews global trial protocols, just really reviewing how patient is treated, what are the just implications, and to be really involved in the full process is something that really values by healthcare professionals, by keeping leaders, and just really improves the situation with education. And finally, clinical trials suggest like really infrastructure. It also helps clinics, private, state clinics, to improve its infrastructure, to get the latest equipment that is critical for running those clinical trials. And overall, just summarizing, it's really important for the government and for the Ministry of Health to consider what Uzbekistan in the current situation with the growing population, with the highest IQ, with the infrastructure that we see in the Tashkent Pharma Park to do next. And the next step is really just to consider to develop the best in class zero infrastructure so that in a nutshell, the local people can get access to the most innovative products. And finally, just summarizing, this is exactly the last slide. In order to do this, there are like 3 topics to discuss: legislation and regulation, so that all current regulations were in line with the global practice. This is infrastructure that mentioned, and final education of physicians. So good luck with this, and I will hand over to other speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anastasia. So that was very helpful about the clinical trials. Any question from the audience? I can ask a question. So to you and also to you probably, do you know the number of clinical trials that are ongoing in Uzbekistan?
It's not a lot, I would say. So it's actually about like 1,000 or more. It's more just bioequivalents, not innovative products, but just bioequivalent, just to confirm that generics can also just be produced here.
So there are 1,000 clinical trials are ongoing in the country. Oh wow, that's impressive.
Yes, and I hope that there will be more and more, because fingers crossed for this. And again, so there is like really huge area for development.
Okay.
Can I make one very quick one? So let
30
me tell you
seconds.
something that's happening now. Okay, EMA and MHRA have agreed not to require patient testing or clinical trials for biosimilars. FDA is about to make that decision. Okay, and I'm meeting with them next week. Okay, so the cost of developing biosimilars is going to go down by 80% once the clinical trials are removed. Okay? And I want you to know this, okay, because I'm investing in Uzbekistan for biosimilars. I want you to do the same thing.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So we go to the next speaker, Mr. Murad Betal, again, the chairman of Betal Holding.
Rahmat, teşekkür ederim. Kardeş Özbekistan'a yatırım yapmaktan mutluluk duyuyoruz. Özbekistan Devleti'nin bize vermiş olduğu imtiyazlardan dolayı kendilerine çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Biz burada yatırımcı olarak bulunmaktayız. Türk İlaç ve Serum Sanayi olarak Özbekistan Devleti'nin göstermiş olduğu bize tahsis edilen 25.000 metrekarelik bir arsada şu an fabrikamızın inşaatına başlamış bulunmaktayız. Burada serum, ampul dolum işleyip çıkartacağız. Bunun Özbekistan için dışa bağımlılığını biraz daha azaltmış olacağız. İç pazarı kuvvetlendirmiş olacağız ve aynı zamanda eksportunu da güçlendirmiş olacağız. Türkiye'deki Türk Serum ve Anonim şirketinin Türkiye'deki %60 serum ihtiyacını karşıladığını söylemek istiyorum size. Aynı şekilde Özbekistan'a Türkiye'deki teknolojiyi getirip daha da yüksek seviyelere çıkartmayı planlıyoruz. Şimdilik çok teşekkür ederiz. Sağ olun.
Perfect. So any question from the audience? No, I can ask questions. I can ask a question for you, Mr. Batal. So you have been in the Uzbekistan market so far in pharmaceuticals. Do you have a specific suggestions to the government of Uzbekistan that can help basically the investors and also the pharma and biotech companies? Do we have translation for? Okay, so Leila can help to translate.
Özbekistan'da yatırımcılık olarak bulunuyorsunuz. Özbek devletine tavsiyeleriniz var mı yatırım konusunda? Ne tavsiye etmiş bulunursunuz Özbek devletine?
Ben aşağı yukarı 11 yıldır Özbekistan'da yaşıyorum. Burada yaşamaktan da mutluyum. Şu an daha da iyi bir şekilde Özbekistan devleti yatırımcılara destek olmaya çalışıyor. Kendilerine teşekkür ediyoruz. Biz hiçbir zorluk yaşamıyoruz bu süreçte. Teşekkür ediyoruz. Şu an için bir problem yok. İnşallah bundan sonra da zaten diğer yatırımlarımız devam edecek. Teşekkür ediyoruz.
Perfect. That's, I think, that is obvious. I mean, even since my last travel to Uzbekistan, that the reform is happening at a very high speed under the leadership of the president Mirzayev, and that creates opportunity. Reforms anywhere in the world comes with opportunities. So we are very hopeful that that every year, I mean, we hear the GDP growth rate that that you mentioned, 6%. With this population and the opportunities in the Central Asia, that the large population can create a specific opportunities for investors, for founders, and that's actually that's why I'm here. As I said. So, Mr. Botol, I'll talk to you after the meeting specifically about this. And the final speaker is Mr. Chi Suik, the Chief Executive Officer of Unimed Pharmaceuticals. Please.
Thank you. 먼저 지금 양해 말씀드리겠습니다. 한국말로 진행해도 된다고 그래서 참석했는데 일단 한국말로 진행을 하도록 하겠습니다. 아까는 인사 말씀은 드렸고요. 간단하게 진행 사항을 말씀드리겠습니다. 대한민국의 유니메드 제약사는 1990년에 김건남 회장님이 제약사를 설립해서 현재 대한민국 제약 발전을 중심으로 1등 제약사로 발전하기 위해서 끊임없는 연구 개발과 대한민국 국민이 안전하고 건강하게 살아갈 수 있도록 최고의 의약품을 만들기 위하여 700명의 전 사원이 열심히 노력하고 있습니다. 특히나 지금까지 연구 개발로 노력 중인 제약기술과 생산 능력, 대한민국 정부에서 필요로 한 국민건강보험에 포함된 의약품을 우즈베키스탄에 기술 이전을 목표로 한국의 유니메드 생산 공장을 그대로 이전하여 새로운 우즈베키스탄 유니메드를 만들고자 현재 진행 중에 있습니다. 3년 동안의 우즈베키스탄 현지 시장 조사와 유통 현황, 현지 제약 공장 견학, 생산 능력, 의약품 효능별 공급, 처방 등 우즈베키스탄 정부가 필요로 한 의약품을 국민들에게 정말로 필요한 의약품이 무엇인지 조사를 하여 본사의 창업자 회장님이 우즈베키스탄 방문을 하여 우즈베키스탄 대통령님을 만나고 꼭 우즈베키스탄에서 국민이 필요로 한 의약품과 태어나서부터 죽을 때까지 건강하게 병과 질환으로 고생하는 모든 국민에게 건강하게 살 수 있는 권리와 권한을 지켜주고자 다짐을 하고 우즈베키스탄 정부의 제약산업 발전에 앞장설 목표로 투자를 결정하게 되었습니다. 우즈베키스탄의 유니메드 제약사는 제약단지 내에 7헥타르의 부지를 불화받고 7천만 불에서 9천만 불의 투자금과 300명에서 500명의 인력 창출을 통해 바이오 기술 기반의 의약품을 생산하는 최신 공장 건설을 추진하고 있습니다. 본 프로젝트의 주요 목표는 첨단 바이오 기술을 활용하여 국민이 믿고 사용할 수 있는 고품질의 저렴한 의약품을 우즈베키스탄 내에 직접 생산하는 것입니다. 이는 국민 건강 증진과 우즈베키스탄 제약산업 발전에 실질적인 기여를 하여 국민건강 의료보험 편입을 목표로 하는 사업입니다. 본사가 우즈베키스탄을 선택한 핵심적 요인은 우즈베키스탄 대통령님과 정부의 혁신적인 경제 성장과 급진적 발전 속도에 다출산 국가의 인프라와 정부의 의료 사업과 제약 산업 발전에 크나큰 노력에 본사가 우즈베키스탄을 선택한 이유입니다. 이제 우즈베키스탄 제약 생산 산업의 구성을 발표하겠습니다. 생산 계획에는 다음과 같은 품목이 포함되어 있습니다. 각막, 망막 질환 및 안구 건조증, 치료용 바이오 안약, 히알론산 및 단백질 성분 기반의 관절 주사제, 관절염 치료 및 조직 재생용, 인슐린, 호르몬제, 다클론 항체 등 필수 바이오 의약품, 중증 질환, 수술 후 환자, 암 환자의 통증 완화와 고통을 덜어주는 진통제와 치료제, 마약성 치료제, 천연 치료제에 의한 추출법으로 파킨슨병 및 기타 신경계 질환 치료를 위한 바이오 의약품을 별도로 포함되어 있습니다. 화학 성분이 아닌 천연 재료는 신경 보호 및 향염 효과가 있는 생리활성 펩타이드가 포함되어 있으며 이는 신경질환 치료에 매우 유망한 소재입니다. 주요 추진 과제는 다음과 같습니다. 생산 국산화를 통한 치료비 원가 절감, 안전한 의약품 품질 및 효능 향상, 국내 시장의 필수 의약품 안정성 공급 확대, 의료 시스템이 요구하는 안전하고 현대적인 효과적 치료제 제품. 저희 회사는 단순한 상업적 성과를 넘어서 국민 건강 증진과 국가 제약 발전 산업에 기여하는 것을 사명으로 하고 있습니다. 우즈베키스탄에 있어 본 프로젝트의 전략적 중요성입니다.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Oh, 1 minute. Okay, sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
우즈베키스탄에 있어 본 프로젝트의 전략적 중요성에 대해서 잠시 설명드리겠습니다. 첫 번째, 의약품 공급 안정화 및 자립화. 현재 대부분의 바이오 의약품이 수입에 의존하고 있어 외부 가격 및 공급 변화에 민감한 구조입니다. 국내 생산을 통한 이러한 리스크를 줄이고 국민에게 안정적인 공급이 가능해집니다. 두 번째, 과학기술 발전. 바이오 기술은 유전학, 미생물학적, 생명공학 등 다양한 응용 과학의 발전을 촉진하여 벌독 치료제와 같은 혁신 분야는 국내 연구 역량을 강화하고 국제 공동 연구 기회를 넓혀줍니다. 이로 인해 고급 전문 인력 수요가 증가하고 교육 및 연구기관의 성장을 이끌게 됩니다. 세 번째, 경제적 이익. 수입 대체 효과로 인한 지출 절감, 중앙아시아, CIS, 중동 등 수출 가능성 확대, 특히 청년 및 이공계 졸업생을 위한 양질의 일자리 창출이 기대됩니다. 보건 의료 수준 향상, 암, 자가 면역 질환, 신경계 희귀 질환 등 최신 치료제에 대한 접근성 확대, 국내 의료기관을 통한 임상 시험 기반 조성, 의료 기술력 향상. 다섯 번째, 지속 가능성 친환경 생산. 저희 공장은 친환경 바이오 공장을 도입해 환경에 미치는 영향을 최소화하며 국가가 추구하는 녹색 경쟁 및 지속 가능한 사업 전반 전략에 부합하는 구조로 설계되어 있습니다. 저희 사명은 단순한 공장 건설이 아니라 우즈베키스탄의 보건, 의료, 과학 산업에 미래가 기여하는 지속 가능한 시스템을 구축하는 것입니다. 여러분의 관심과 협력을 기대하며 앞으로도 더욱 노력하는 인간의 생명 유지를 최우선적으로 하는 안전하고도 효과적인 의약품을 생산하는 우즈베키스탄 유니메드가 될 것을 약속드리며 발표를 마무리하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Any question from the audience? Great. I think that that was a good end to this panel. We went over time intentionally because this is the only healthcare session of this forum, and life science and healthcare. I think everyone now agrees that is the main area for future. And the main investment will be in life sciences, as you hear around the world as well. So I want to thank all my amazing co-panelists to speak in this forum. I also want to thank you all for being here and listening to our speeches. I need to thank the organizers, the Ministry of Investment, for organizing this amazing forum, bringing people from different backgrounds, from investment to executives, to founders, to scientists, to policymakers, together with one hope that Uzbekistan will prosper faster. You heard from my colleagues about the potentials for investment in this country. You heard about the GDP growth rate. You heard about the population size. You heard about the potentials for production of pharmaceuticals within this country. You heard about the clinical trials and how important they are, basically in not only advancing science, but also in building infrastructure for the country. You heard about the new technologies like RNA technology that can change health and disease, as we know. And we all experience, as I said, like mRNA technology helped us to get out of COVID faster. You heard about the foreign experience here in this country. People, investors, and companies that came from other countries started businesses here, invested in these countries, and you heard the positive comments that they had about the ecosystem and the environment in this country. And finally, as I said, one thing that is happening in this country very positively is the fast pace of reform. And that is creating a lot of opportunities for companies, investors, scientists, and others to come and invest. I want to specifically thank the organizers of this session as well. And there is one young guy, Dostonbek, that you may or may not know. He is standing now. Organizing this kind of large events definitely does not seem easy, but it's definitely much more difficult and complex than what we think. Specifically when it goes to larger scale, and specifically what involves multiple nationalities, multiple nationals, bringing officials from different parts of the world here. Some of you experienced traffic today, for example. These are the complexities of organizing large events. So I specifically want to thank Dostonbek, the other team members that have helped. Some of them we may not know even their names, but they made a significant contribution to this 3-day event and to what you experienced today. So with that, I end the session, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of forum here and enjoy Uzbekistan as well. If you don't know, Tashkent is not the only city of Uzbekistan. There are very beautiful cities in this countries that you have to go. If not in this trip, if you are from other countries, next time you have to come back if you don't have time now to go to Bukhara, to go to Samarkand, and see the rich history, tradition, and culture of this country. This country has been now is at the heart of Central Asia, but has been on Silk Road. It has been part of Persian Empire. It has been many of the things that are known as part of the culture and civilization of big civilizations happened and rooted in and rooted from this part of the world. So it's not only about investment being here, it's about learning how amazingly these people contributed to the civilization that we know now, and to all of us around the world. With that, thank you so much, and I hope to see you next year in the next forum.
And no, this is the land of Ibn Sina. Just be united, okay?
No, of course. Pleasure. Someone will give us the photos. Okay. Good. My pleasure meeting you. I think we should talk. I want to talk.
Murat Bey sizinle konuşmak istiyor. Birazdan tanışalım.